everyone, my name is Leanne and today I'm bringing you my to be read pile for the Irish Readathon. If you don't know anything about the Irish Readathon, I will leave my announcement video linked down below in the description, but basically it is just a reading initiative that I run alongside my co-hosts Elaine and Aoife, where we encourage you throughout the entirety of March to read more Irish literature than you normally would. So even if you're just reading one Irish book in the month of March, you're participating. But we do also have some challenges that you can participate if you would like to. We have 5 reading prompts, but it is a super chill out readathon. You can double up on challenges if you want to. You can ignore the challenges altogether. I myself am going to be reading entirely Irish literature throughout the month of March. But as I said, one Irish book and you are participating. So anyways, into the books. The first challenge we set every year is to read a book with green on the cover, and I have decided to read Show Them a Good Time by Nicole Flattery. Now this is quite a rainbow cover, but there's green on it, okay? This is a short story collection that is all about contemporary experiences and how men, women, people of all genders are restricted and defined by the assigned roles that society gives them. A lot of great things about this short story collection, so I'm very excited to get to it. Next is to read a book that was published between 2018 and 2020, and for this I've gone for Grownups by Marian Keyes, and this was published at the start of February, so it definitely came out this year. This is a book about complicated and messy familial relationships. It follows the 3 brothers in the Casey family and each of their wives, who on the surface they get along really well, they have a great time when they hang out, but there's definitely a lot of tension below the surface. When one of the wives suffers from concussion, she lets slip something that she shouldn't say in front of everyone, and that kind of spirals things to unravel. I read Marian Keyes for the first time last year for the Irish Readathon, and I have since become obsessed with her, so I'm really excited to read another book from her. The next prompt is to read a book that has won an award, and for this I have gone for Days Without End by Sebastian Barry, which won the Costa Book of the Year back in 2016. I don't know too much about this book other than it follows 2 men who were in the US Army in the 1850s, and it looks at the horrors that they witnessed and the bond that was formed between them. This is another one that I've heard a lot of really positive reviews about. The next challenge is quite an easy one. It's just to read a book that is under 150 pages, and for this I have gone for Playing the Octopus by Mary O'Malley. This is a poetry collection that has been on my TBR for such a long time, and it comes in at a grand total of 95 pages. This is the poet's 8th collection of poetry, and it has a lot to do with like the spirit of the west coast of Ireland. I think a lot of my Irish reading tends to be focused on Dublin because that's where I'm from, so it'll be really interesting to read something from a different Irish perspective than my own. And the final challenge is to read an LGBTQ plus book, so this can be in the characters that are in the book or the author themselves, and I have gone for Holding by Graham Norton. I don't know if there are any queer characters in this book, but Graham Norton is openly gay. This is a crime novel that is set in a small Irish town, and it follows what happens when a body is found on a local farm and the past begins to open up and secrets are revealed. I've never read any of Graham Norton's books, but I do enjoy his chat show, and it'll be intriguing to see what I think of him as a writer. I've not heard too many people talking about his work on BookTube. Those are like my main books for fulfilling the challenges of the readathon, but there are a few more books I would like to get to in the month, and as I said, I will be reading exclusively Irish literature in the month. There are a couple of non-fiction books that I would like to get to, including Vagina, a Re-Education by Lynn Enright. This is a book that is all about bodies that have vaginas, the misconceptions around them. It looks at taboo topics like miscarriage and abortion, menstruation and masturbation. I love books like this, so I'm so excited to get to this one. I also really want to listen to Don't Touch My Hair by Emma Dabiri. This is a book that's all about women of colour, and historically, and I think still in a contemporary sense, Irish writing is very white, which is something that I think should be shifting and is shifting, although it be a very gradual one. This is another book that is about women's bodies, but specifically about women of colour, societal misconceptions, preconceptions, how women are mistreated. As I said, this is one I'm going to be listening to in March. I also really want to read Promising Young Women by Caroline O'Donoghue. This book ticks so many boxes for me in that It's about an adrift woman in her 20s. That's all I need to want to read a book. But this book follows our main character when she becomes the other woman in an affair, and the effect that has on her personal relationships, her mental health. Definitely all themes that I'm really interested in reading about. I'd also really like to read The Little Red Chairs by Edna O'Brien. This is about what happens when a man who calls himself a faith healer arrives in a West Ireland village. He's super charismatic and it seems like this entire village is under his spell. And one woman in particular is enthralled with him, and this has unimaginable consequences. I have read a couple of Edna O'Brien's books before in like the Country Girl series, and this one has been on my TBR for quite a while, and I think it's kind of different to a lot of the other books that are on my TBR for the Irish Readathon, so I'm really excited for it. And I would also like to read Bank by Emma Quigley. This was sent to me by Little Island, who are one of my favourite Irish publishers. They publish a lot of like children's, middle grade and YA fiction. Not just fiction actually, they publish like poetry and non-fiction as well. But this is what happens when a boy sets up essentially like a lending bank service at his school. He lends his classmates money and charges like really high interest rates. I think it just sounds like such a funny concept and a really great addition to my TBR because I could do with reading some like kids fiction in the mix as well. There are some other books that I may get to during the month, but I will be doing an Irish book haul where I talk about some of the new books that have come onto my TBR. So keep your eyes peeled for that if you're interested, and if I get enough time after I've read these books, I will be moving on to some of the books that I hauled in that video as well. Do leave me a comment down below and let me know if you've read any of these books. They will all be linked in the description if you want to find out more about them. And let me know if you're participating in the Irish Readathon. I would love to have a chat with you down in the comments, and if you're doing a TBR, I would love to see it. I hope you guys are doing well, and I will talk to you in my next video.